Hello everyone, greetings from the office. My name is Neil and I have Myasthenia Gravis. I'm going to be filming a few videos over the next few weeks or months about MG. And I'm going to call it MG because Myasthenia Gravis is quite hard to pronounce, but I thought I'd start with this one, just a bit of an introduction as to who I am really. The reason I've started a YouTube channel, and I'm not down with the kids, you might imagine, but the reason that I have started a YouTube channel is really because I'm a very busy person. I've always been very busy, running a very busy life, and I really never saw MG coming in the sudden onset way that it did. So the intent of this channel is really to educate, inspire and raise awareness of MG. To explain what MG is, explain some of the symptoms. Obviously I'm not medical, but to try and explain some of those things, to explain how it affected me, and to really explain how I'm not going to let that rule my life or affect my life, and demonstrate to you hopefully that it's possible to run a normal busy life without any sort of major changes when you do have MG. So really the aim here is to show that you can have MG, live life in a normal way, do everything that you probably once did before, but you might just have to make a few adjustments to life, which again I'll hopefully try and explain in the videos over the next few months. I also hope to prove that a diagnosis of MG doesn't have to be as scary as it sounds. It might sound quite scary. It might seem one of those things, a neurological condition, a complex muscle condition, all those other things. But actually, in truth, it's something that isn't as difficult or as complex as it might need to be in terms of changing your life. That doesn't mean that the condition is any way more simplified. I'm not trying to simplify it, but I'm trying to say that it's possible not to have to completely change your life to do it. So that's the plan of the video anyway. So who am I? Well, I'm a self-confessed workaholic. Anybody who knows me knows that I like working, and I've always worked hard and done things in my life where I've pushed things to the limit, let's say. I'm technically, or generally my day job is an international project director for events and hospitality. I deliver events all over the world. I have a few other business interests, both in the UK and the US, but principally I tend to keep my feet on the ground either in the UK or quite often the US. Last year, for example, I travelled all over Europe doing events. I went to America, I went to Singapore, I went to Hong Kong, I went to Dubai and I went to Qatar, all delivering events. So generally I fly internationally, probably once a month, or at least did before MG, and I'll come on to that in one of my other videos, but I generally travel quite a lot. I also work part-time for an airline, so again I travel fairly extensively all over the world on a regular basis, and quite often that tends to be America. I probably fly maybe 8 or 9 times a year to America just with the airline that I work for. So I'm always on the move, always in different time zones, always in different countries, always in different hotels half the time. I'm often working through the night, or at least someone else's nights. And often what I find doing my job is that I have clients in places like Australia or Hong Kong or America where we're talking about polar different time zones. Quite often it's the case that I have to be available to clients very early in the morning to talk to them in, say, Australia, but I also have to be available to clients on the west coast of America quite late into the evening as well. The other thing to say is events and hospitality is renowned for hard work. 12-hour days are pretty standard in the industry, and they can be quite long, hard grafts as well. So really up until February of this year, and this year is 2023, I was a fit and healthy person and flew, I think in January I flew 8 international flights in January, and I flew the same in December, the same in October roughly. So very, very busy, always travelling, always on the move, always doing things. I should probably add that I'm also a pilot, and that means that we have to have rigorous medical checks. Those checks are bloods, ECGs, where you have to stand on a treadmill with an ECG on us. We have to have an oxygen mask, and that checks your breathing. We have eye tests, hearing tests, all kinds of tests, and these are conducted by what's known as AMEs, authorised medical examiners. and they're regulated by the Civil Aviation Authority, and they're doctors, very qualified, knowledgeable doctors. And those guys have to be rigorous and thorough to give you a medical to fly a plane. And over the course of being a pilot I've been a pilot since 2012, so over 10 years. And I've never found a situation where any of those tests have come back querying anything or any markers for MGs. So this was very, very sudden. I've also never worn glasses. I'm not wearing glasses now, but I'll talk about some of the eye problems in another video. But I've never worn glasses. I've always had 20/20 vision, I suppose, if not better. So when some of the eye problems with MG began, that was the kind of warning sign, and that's where I started to realise something was wrong. So that's work. As I said, I'm a workaholic, assuming work comes first. When I'm not working, I'm at home, if I am home, and I have a partner, and I also have a very active dog. And I'm going to do a separate video about my dog, because I actually believe she saved my life a few weeks ago. But for now, let's just say I've got a dog. She's called Mabel. She's a golden doodle, and she'll happily do a 2-hour walk. And she'll happily do that over and over and over again every day. So I'm used to being very active with the dog, used to doing daily long walks. And likewise, when I bought the house, so you can see I'm in my office now, but when I bought my house a few years ago, it certainly wasn't like this. It was very much doer-upper, and there's been a huge amount of building work that I've been doing to the house, which is me. I've been carrying bricks and cement and wood and chiseling stuff and smashing things and doing all kinds of things, loading skips and lots of other very, very active, hard work, sort of builder style work from a DIY perspective. So again, I've always had to be fit and healthy. And MG, when it, again, we talk about it in a separate video, but when it does what it does to your arms and your legs, it can be quite surprising to go from loading skips in your house to not being able to operate a shovel or something. It's quite remarkable that what it does to you. But again, things are back on track, so there's nothing to panic about there. So hopefully you can see I have a very active life. I've not had, that's the wrong thing to say. I've always had a very active life, and I will continue to have a very active life. But pre-MG, I was all over the place doing lots of things at once, and that's exactly how I'm quite happy with my life being. And I don't propose to change that for this. So I'm going to record some other videos about what I've done to change things, what I've done to move on, and ultimately, yes, those will come in due course. But I will also do a separate video about the symptoms, about living with MG, about the medication, about what my life was like so before, and why I'm not going to let it get in the way, which I've kind of done here, but just to kind of explain some of the changes I've made. And I think that's pretty much it. So thank you very much for watching. That's who I am, and please feel free to continue watching. Hopefully this is going to help you if you think you might have MG, or if you have it, or if you're looking for the light at the end of the tunnel. Hopefully this video is going to be helpful to you. Thank you very much.